Hey, what's up? Semper Ubi sub Ubi. I mean, like, you know, everybody likes clean butts, right?
That was a little long.
That's a good one for the ADHD person that needs to stim the whole time.
Well, the musicians put their glasses, you know, sometimes when they're playing on these.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's okay. Yeah, this is just for the mic, so we can. This is where they can put their glasses. You know.
Yep,
they're-
yep. Here, let's try this.
I think we only need 4 chairs.
Okay, this one's for Stuart. Matter of fact, there's a little wobbly, so I can get you something else. But I replaced it with a different one.
a 10-minute warning. So if you want to get a beer or more food, I mean, like, beer is food, right?
Beer is good food.
Right? But please get your next beer. Make sure to tip our lovely bartenders. Get some water. Get some noms. Use the bathroom. And we'll be getting started at about 7 o'clock. just wrap up your lovely conversations, which I know are very important, but we are here for a purpose.
Different John, different place.
Thank you all so much for being here. It's been interesting getting going this year with the transitions, with the admin, organization, and just kind of figuring out, what are we doing now? What are we doing now? I mean, Great American Beer Fest isn't even where we always thought it would be. So let's see what kind of things we can make happen. But firstly, thank you for hosting us, Salt Road, Scott. And of course, our lovely beer tender, Blake. And before we get started, we would like to, of course, do our land acknowledgement. We would like to begin by acknowledging that reading out or writing a land acknowledgement does not constitute truth and reconciliation. Truth and reconciliation is a two-part phrase, and we are only beginning to do the work of understanding the truth. The reconciliation part will take great effort on the part of all of our community and following generations to achieve. Don't think that when you hear a land acknowledgement, speak one or write one, but you can say that you did the work. Reading and writing the land acknowledgement is only the beginning of creating the awareness necessary to take action and effect change. The Rocky Mountain District MBAA recognizes publicly and intentionally we gather on the territories and ancestral homelands of the Cheyenne, Ute, Arapaho, Apache, Comanche, and Lakota peoples, past and present. We also recognize the 48 contemporary tribal nations that are historically tied to the lands that make up the communities we travel from to attend meetings. And our expected behavior policy. Usually it's around here, but we don't know where it went, so this is where we're going to have it here too. We are dedicated to providing a harassment-free conference experience for everyone, regardless of gender, sexual orientation, disability, physical appearance, body size, race, or religion. We do not tolerate harassment of participants in any form. We ask all attendees, exhibitors, speakers, sponsors, volunteers, guests, and other participants be considerate and respectful to all members and refrain from demeaning, discriminatory, or harassing behavior and speech. Please note, if you register a guest for the meeting, you may be held responsible for the actions of the guest. Yes, you are responsible for your weirdos. Violations of this policy should be reported to meeting staff. I am the president. You can come talk to me. We will address anything that happens. Master Brewers reserves the right to remove any individual from attendance or other participation in any Master Brewers sponsored event without prior warning or refund, and to take additional action as determined necessary, up to and including expulsion from participation in Master Brewers. Any course of action recommended by Master Brewers is final. So now on to the fun stuff. We have scholarships. We've got money. We would love to help you get more education. We have amazing people in this community. We have programs. We have a new Six Sigma program coming out. The Bring in Multi-Science course is coming up. And already too busy this year. There's more things next year. And we can definitely help you figure it out. And if you're not finding what you're looking for with the MBAA, you want to go for your Cicerone, you want to get some books, you want to go to, frankly, I believe somebody went to South America to learn more about different brewing processes there, come talk to us. We want to help you out. We want to make things happen. So, and a lot of this is possible because of our wonderful sponsors. Firstly, Proximity covered a round of beers. These guys right here. Z. Loeffler, would you mind? Yeah, you don't get to just.
All right, guys. Hey, I know a lot of you do business with some of you. I want to do business with all of you. So if you guys need anything, just let me know. We do chemicals, we do front to the back of the house, and it's delivered pricing. So that's, I'll just leave it at that. But whatever pricing you ever ask for will be delivered to your door. So, cheers.
And we have BSI, who is also going to come up and do a lovely little talk.
sorry, I have a little slide here. Here we go. There you go.
Cool leg.
This is going to be my thing. Okay, BSI. I think most of you have heard or used BSI yeast or services before. So I'm not going to go long onto what we are. My name is Biswas Palike. I'm a GM. I'm originally from Nepal and been working with BSI for 16 years now. Yeah, a lot of you do not know. BSI just turned 30 years this year, so we're proud of it that we've been in the industry, serving industry for this many years. Some more thing about the BSI. I think we are the only one or two yeast lab that exclusively do liquid yeast. We don't do any dry yeast. We understand there is time and situation to use the dry yeast, but we believe that liquid yeast makes the premium beer. We have a faster lead time. Most of our restaurants, in fact, all of our restaurants, you can get it with 7-day lead time or year around, and then some of the restaurants are available, like Chico, London, some of those most popular restaurants can be shipped the next business day. In our team, we have a technical support, which is run by 3 or 4 people who have been brewers for several years, so they understand you, they understand your language, or they understand your needs. So whenever you call or email us, you'll hear back from those expert people. Besides just the yeast, we also offer banking service. So if you want to bank your proprietary strains or strain you like, we can bank it, and it's free service as long as you order one order in a year. Besides that, we do contamination testing, like PCR testing or things like that. And lastly, we are local. Because we are local, we can offer this exclusive shipping services for our Colorado customers. We offer free delivery to Denver metro area every Tuesday. So I come up here once a month to Denver metro. And for other reasons like Fort Collins and most of the Colorado, and even some zip codes in Wyoming, we offer flat rate shipping depending on the size, but a package of like for 10 barrel system to 20 barrels, it would be $20 flat rate. Okay, today I'm here mainly to talk about this new and exciting news from BSI. Last week we released our own bioengineered yeast. It's called Extropica. It's designed to have enhanced tropical flavors. Some more information about this strain. It is the modified version of everyone's favorite, Chico. So you can expect the same type of performance, reliability, and same specs that you'll expect from Chico. But the main caveat is it will produce a tropical flavor which can be up to 2.5 times more than a regular Chico. Some of the flavors produced by this strain is OMMP, 3MHs, so those like blackcurrant, grapefruit, and guava. Nice thing about this strain is, since a lot of you have worked with BSI, you may know that we are one of the most price competitive in the liquid yeast business, and we have kept the same price for this Extropica. So it will be same low cost for using this strain. In addition, there is not going to be any fee or restricted contract that will limit you from repitching, or say if you go over certain volumes, you have to pay extra. There is nothing like that. And this is designed, I cannot go into the details of the process, but it is designed to where you would be effectively be able to repeat the yeast over several generations. Some of the recommendations based on our trials in the lab, and we have also done some trials with the commercial breweries. For malt, we recommended Pilsner and oats would be good for this yeast. And we have also found that dextrine would be good for the mouthfeel of the beer. And we have found that using excessive wheat and rye, which has a lot of proteins, can give us some off flavor. So it's suggested that you limit the proportion of those grain in your recipe. For hops, Cascade, Mochieca, Saz, and Aurora would be a good choice. But it's up to you. I know if you have already used yours, some other bioengineered yeast or to produce elevated piles, you know your recipe, what works for you, but I just ask you can give it a try. I have brought a beer, New Terrain recently brewed, a beer of fruited sour. I've got a few cans of it. I don't know when would be a good time for it, but for a little sampler for everybody.
All right, and we also want to give a nice shout out to BioMeriu, which is one of our other sponsors. And I forgot my beer up here, and I was very lonely. And apparently I'm not up to date on modern flavors because I didn't know blackcurrant was considered tropical. Anyways, we have a lovely panel tonight, and it's going to be led by our own board members, Amanda and Elliot. And feel free to come up and invite our peeps up to help run some advice.
Don't be shy. So we're very fortunate to be joined by three brewers. I think have a lot of knowledge to share, and really looking forward to having like a discussion. So any questions that y'all have, kind of looking to have this just be very conversational. We're all here because we love beer, and I think should just keep it lighthearted, fun, and ask some of the questions that are burning in your minds. So. Real quick, I think we'll do some introductions. So my name's Elliot Parcells. I'm with Odell Brewing Company, quality manager.
I'm Amanda. I'm with the Fornosis family, and I'm the quality director.
I'm Rob. I'm the director of ops at Storm Peak and Steamboat Springs.
I'm Scott, the co-founder and brewer here at Salt Road.
Josh, co-owner and also director of operations. After years of head brewing, I'm in operations now. That's my role of Verboten Brewing.
So we've got some awesome panelists. I think we're going to kick it off just with a question and try and get the discussion going. But anything on y'all's minds, we'd love to open it up to y'all here in a minute. So.
Yeah, please contribute. We've got some questions just to kind of spark the minds of everyone here, but we really want to hear from you guys and have them answer your questions. So first question, and you guys can feel free to jump in or if you want to go down the line. What was the first beer you ever brewed? And if you could brew it again today, what would you change?
Well, the first beer probably did not fall under any style guideline. I started home brewing in the mid-90s and was real excited about it, but I just I hadn't read a lot. I read one book that my uncle gave me, but I kind of just went into the store and like, oh, this smells good, this tastes good, and Special B went in everything. The beer was horrible, so no, I would never brew it again. But yeah, that's what started me on my path anyway.
What did you learn from that experience on that first day?
Well, there was a lot of that kind of repeat behavior, honestly. And then when my wife and I decided to open this place, and I really got back into brewing again and taking it seriously, read a lot of Brewers Association books, read a lot of textbooks from CSU and UC Davis, talked to a lot of brewers, Craft Beer and Brewing Magazine. There's just so much information available now, and so it made it a lot easier my second go around at home brewing to come up with decent recipes.
Yeah.
And my first recipe then, when I got into all grain brewing, was a Helles, and I won a best in show at a homebrew competition in Philly with it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as amateur brewer, I also started as a home brewer, and it was a kit. It was just an English brown, and I made it, and it was like, it's okay. Followed the directions. It was all right. But I grew up in Fort Collins. I was born and raised in Fort Collins, and so in Belgium and Odell was making all these great beers, and I was like, this isn't even close. And so right away, I just went into all grain right after that, and so I wouldn't change anything about that first brew because I just realized that wasn't up to the quality in Colorado, and especially in northern Colorado. And so I just had to like dive in all the way, and just was doing batch after batch, small batch, messing with water, grains, hops, anything I could get my hands on, everything I could read, going to every brewery, do tours here in northern Colorado. So I actually wouldn't change anything about that first brew because I just knew how short it was of the quality in northern Colorado and Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a great place to learn your lessons.
Yeah.
I guess, honestly, I don't even remember what my first brew was. It's hard to say. I mean, maybe it might have been, if I can remember one of the early brews, maybe it was like a Belgian blonde or something. And it was, I'd probably just look back at like changing, like monitoring water profile a little better, pH control on the brew house, and then fermentation temp too. I think that's something that I like. You know, when you get the occasional home brewer that walks in and asks what sets stuff apart, that's one important factor that I mentioned that a lot of home brewers don't have the ability to do is temperature control. Because the way I see it is the yeast is always going to make alcohol. It's making it taste good that we want. That's the thing we're after. And temperature control of fermentation for almost every yeast strain is super important to what you want to get out of it. So if I could change that, that's what I would change.
When y'all are bringing new people on when it comes to maintenance and kind of upkeeping your facility, how are you sort of like balancing that between training people on brewing beer and the recipes you have, and then how to rebuild a pump or sort of just like maintaining the facility as is? How are you striking that balance?
I can jump in with that. For us, we cross-train probably more than most breweries, I think, but we try to find really good people, just with a good fit, for lack of a better word, like a good vibe fit with everybody, but also like somebody with a good head on their shoulders and who has a good work ethic too. Yeah. And for us, we try to find what they like to do and where their proclivity is towards skills. So we see where they can fit in, and then if somebody is really mechanically inclined, it's like, let's steer them, like, hey, I'm rebuilding a pump today, let's learn about that together. And they might pick it up really well, and then it's like, okay, you're getting this after 2 times. Now when that needs to be done, that can be taken off of my plate a little bit. So we kind of find where people are driven to learning and where their skill set also is already established a little bit, and take advantage of that wherever we can, and then develop them in that area as it makes sense.
Yeah, I'd have to 100% agree with that. We, I initially look for people that will fit our team, but then looking at their other skill sets, what their passions are. If it's not beer, but it may be something valuable. We've had beer tenders that were in the fermentation science program at CSU. A couple of our beer tenders are bicycle mechanics, and I've cross-trained them to do things in the brew house like dry hopping and washing kegs and kegging beer and packaging. They're good at that. We've got a couple of really good artists on our staff that are responsible for our menu board, a lot of our social media, and they don't mind doing those things while they're on the clock because it's their passion, and that's kind of what we're looking for.
I think, agreed to, and just balancing and directing people towards their strengths and weaknesses, and knowing what their strengths and weaknesses are. And sometimes their strengths are in an area that doesn't include fixing equipment. Sometimes it doesn't. I mean, we've had brewers that are great at that stuff. And so right now I kind of fill in the gaps of whatever weakness, just being in this game so long that I'm going to let them work on their strengths and help them with their weaknesses and train and show them how to do it. But I just fill in the gaps when there's something that they can't do or they're not comfortable in doing. I'm not going to force them to do that if they're not comfortable. So I just big believer in gearing them towards their strengths and filling in their weaknesses, and if I can help, I will.
Yeah. Over the last 5 years, which raw material that you're working with do you think has changed the most? And I'd like to also think in the next 5 years, what do you think is going to change the most from there?
I'll start on this end.
Yeah.
I think it's hops.
Yeah.
It's always been, ever since I started brewing, the varieties of hops are hard to keep up with, and it's even harder now, and now there's all sorts of forms, it's, you kind of have to weigh like the expense of the hops and what's diminishing returns. Is it 2 pounds per barrel? Is it 4 pounds per barrel? Is it 6 pounds per barrel? What is diminishing returns? And there's pellets, and there's cryo, and there's extracts of all kinds, and when to use them and where to use them. And so it's a real challenge, and I think that's probably going to continue. As a small brewery, it's hard to get my hand on all of those hops and explore all those hops.
Sure.
I like to say that I travel to all these farms and go hand pick these, and as a small brewery, it's hard to find the money and the time for that. So it's kind of the most challenging ingredient as far as that. We have maltsters here in northern Colorado where you can go taste the malt and see them make it and steep it or make it great malt.
Yeah.
And the big guys too, making great malt, consistent malt. So that's a good thing. So for me, it's just the varieties of hops, and where to use them, and the expense, and how much is too much, and how much is spent on those. It's a balance of P&L.
Yeah.
And even the difference, from lot to lot, it doesn't even have to be season to season. We're primarily buying hops on the spot market, and so it's been rather difficult to get consistent results. We're probably going to get into contract brewing soon. But like Josh was saying, we've only got so many brews that we can do in our lives. And with the amount of brewers in Fort Collins and even beyond, and just the attitude in this industry where everyone shares knowledge, that enhances that experience. Other people are doing it for us, so we all communicate and share knowledge, and that saves us a lot of time and money.
I'd also say hops. There's some cool malt stuff going on too, but far and away, the hop innovation with different flowable products and stuff is just off the charts. Every year there's some other new terpene or something product. But to that point too, growers are getting better with each different variety. They're understanding it better on their property as well, and it seems like they're figuring out pick windows differently. And I think overall, the quality seems to be getting a little bit better, but also then they're ripping out a bunch of Citra Mosaic, and so the craft scene changes, and they have to be ahead of it and adapt, and they're making as good a choice as they can. But yeah, well, like I think lot like understanding by the growers, and then is getting better, but that difference in early, mid, late pick of these different varieties and these different terroirs and everything has come a long way from where it was probably 5 years ago.
Related to that, when you guys are doing any sort of innovation or changing, ingredients or processes, do you have a way that you do that? Whether it's, like benchtop trials, or how are you guys integrating your new processes or new products, experimental stuff?
One at a time. There's so many, we all know there's so many variables.
Yeah.
And changing, more than one ingredient or more than one process from one batch to another, you're never going to know really what kind of data you're getting, sensory data you're getting from batch to batch. So if I'm trying out something new, it's one ingredient at a time, it's one change in process at a time. Unless something's really drastically wrong, then I'll just go down a completely different path. But if I'm going down a path with a certain beer and it's just where I'm heading and it's not going where I want to, I just track back to the batch that I liked the best and then move forward in a different direction from there.
I kind of agree. For us too, we try to do one dial at a time. But we're constantly tinkering with even our core brands, but we try to do it in a measured way to stay within that TTB box. That being said, when you can start to get familiar with some of your raw ingredients to the point where you might be able to change a couple things at a time. For us, if we know hey, we selected a single lot of Citra for the whole year, and we want to do a couple different things with the hops this time. We know what that Citra is doing, so we have a little bit more room to explore because we know what the backbone is here, and we know what notes we should be getting. And so anything else we're tinkering with is coming from somewhere else. But it's usually that experimentation is when you're doing more than a couple dials is pretty rarely on a core brand. Yeah, I wish we could say we had a sweet pilot, but it's basically 20s or nothing for us. We're on a 20 barrel system, and it's we at least have we're fortunate to have the experience to be able to just make stuff on that system, and know that we're going to make at least a good beer, but we're always trying to make great or awesome beer. Yeah. And so when you're doing the one-offs, you're hoping with new ingredients to get something really cool, but you want to at least shoot to where you're getting something usable.
Yeah.
And I started on a 3-barrel system. That's how we opened. The nano brewery thing was a thing. Wouldn't recommend it, but it did allow me to brew a bunch of stuff.
I wouldn't either.
Short batches. Yeah, it was a lot of work. But we still have it, so that's kind of our experimental system. So we have a 15-barrel production system, but we still have a 3-barrel in a little corner in the brewery, and 3 fermenters. So we can kind of experiment with ingredients, but it's hard. It's hard to fit that in, but I get excited anytime I see a new yeast strain on BSI. I want to try that,
Yeah.
So, but it's fitting it in is hard on your schedule. But the pilot system for us allows us to go ahead and fit it in. Let's just try it out and see what happens. And with enough experience, we kind of let our process hopefully make it to a good beer, and it usually does. But that's just experience on that. To experiment with something you haven't used before, knowing how your equipment's going to react to it, helps us to make a good beer in the end.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Like an educated decision.
Right.
Yeah, Evan.
Yeah, so on the topic of innovation, right? Room full of beer nerds here for sure. But the past 5 years, and ingredients and everything, it's all great and all, but people coming in your door that aren't beer savvy that they used to be, right? As we all might be. What are you doing behind the scenes to appeal to that next generation of beer drinkers as far as innovation goes?
It's a good point. back when I fell in love with craft beer, it was, a lot of people were excited about it. We get young folks that come in here, and I just try and engage. And, to them, maybe they're coming in, they just think it's a glass of beer, but you talk about what's going into it to get there. The ingredients and where they're coming from, the history of the beer, just to generate the excitement that we all had when we were first introduced, and get them to come back. Have tastings. Invite people. We got a new experimental beer release just to come out. And talk about the style. Just try and generate that buzz that seems to be going away.
Yeah, the experience always has been important in the brewery, and I think it's even more important, and it's going to continue to be more important, especially with the younger generations just looking for an experience. And as much as I want to nerd out with a lot of people, a lot of customers, sometimes it's too much information. So, you can put on your menu that it's, this yeast strain like BSI had, biotransformation, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of too much for people, unfortunately. So it's kind of a balance of how much you can nerd out with people, and it's really the experience. And we still have to make good beer, continue to make good beer, make the best quality you can. At the end of the day, it's Blake that will either make or break a good experience in the brewery. The same with our folks. I tell them all the time, every taproom meeting we have, doesn't matter how good our beer is. And I've been to a lot of breweries that I thought their beer was so-so, and they're packed because the experience was awesome. And I think that's really important. But I'm not going to let the good beer part fall.
Yeah, I guess I just relate to that too, is that the customer experience seems to be a big chunk of that. Having a good place for people to go, which is, not something that we're necessarily doing back there, but is part of the business side of it. But also on the beer side of it, making, at least the goal for us is to make a beer that's undeniable. When you're looking at quality of something, for me, when I think of a beer, there's certain styles that I don't go for, but I might have something from somebody and go, that's just so good, I'd have another, because it's such a good example of that style. And if you can if that's what you can do with your beers, then people, even if they're not necessarily keyed into what or why, why they like that beer, what's going on in the beer, if they like it enough, they're just that's a delicious beer. I like that, but a huge portion of it is the customer experience, of people coming in, and I think it's probably a fool's errand to, at least at most of our size, to try to chase trends of what beer you're brewing and what you're making, especially in a place like Fort Collins where you're saturated with a lot of breweries and a lot of people making good beer. To try to chase every trend because you're not appealing to a mass market. They can just go down the road and go to a different brewery if they want that type of beer, that type of beer. Ultimately, you create a good customer experience and you create a sense from the customer that they can rely on having a good beer. Whatever you're making, they can try it and it may not be for them, but they won't necessarily say that beer's garbage. They're just that's not my style, but I could see it. So if you can at least get somebody to say I can see what that beer's all about, and the other beers I try, I love, that's my goal, is to have to maintain the quality, to at least when you're putting out a beer, have your quality standards say that this is something that I would not only drink but be stoked to share with brewery friends who would be ideally the most scrutinizing of all.
Providing a sense of value.
Yeah, and having somebody say that, what, not made for me, but that's, I could see that's a good beer, people who like that style, whatever.
Yeah.
So jumping off of that, what are your non-negotiables for quality?
Sanitation.
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, it's like you have beers that are exploding or beers that are just tasting a little farmhousey after a month or something like that. Like that, sanitation is so easy to do for this industry. We're not regulated by the FDA. Like you really don't have to be nearly as clean as the food or the dairy industry. Like we can get away with a lot of stuff by doing some basic sanitation stuff, and that's not being lazy, but it's more like, you know, having open air stuff and just like, okay, we sprayed that, we connected it, it's good to go. Like it's way easier than a lot of industries for us to be sanitary and keep stuff from infecting what we do, because the product itself does a lot of that work. So hitting that minimum level is pretty easy, and when there's potential not to, it's just like so easy. Just like wear gloves, you know, make sure you spray stuff down. Okay, make sure it has contact time. Like contact time, I feel like gets missed a lot.
That's overlooked.
Sanitizers can't just touch product after 10 seconds of sanitary contact, for example. So sanitation is like the first thing I think of, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. You know, fortunately with such a small system that we have here, our beer isn't around very long. I mean, we have great CIP processes, and you know, we take it seriously. But I think if I'm going to judge a beer whether or not it's going to go on, the beer's got to be well attenuated. If it's not, you can just tell, and I fear that more, you know, that the yeast hasn't done its job than I do something being contaminated.
Yeah.
Ours is just putting the beer on that's bad. I mean, we're not afraid to dump a beer.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't pass our QC, it's not going to go on tap. And we have a small lab. We do as much as we can for a small lab.
Yeah.
And so if it doesn't pass our specs, our QC process that we have, diacetyl and centrifuge, and I mean that kind of stuff to taste all this beer, it's not going to go on. I mean, every beer that goes on, we taste at least 3 times before it gets to the customer.
Yeah.
So it's non-negotiable to have a bad beer.
Yeah, the gold standard.
Yeah.
Are you proud to serve it?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Can I ask a question then?
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah.
like for all of us,
Yeah, go
maybe
ahead.
based on that, is like, what are your like release points or your control points throughout the process? Like control points, I guess, and then what are you doing to like release a beer? I mean, it could just be like, yeah, we're tasting it out of the bright and confirming, but like, is there anything else you're doing besides that sensory step?
Like a go, no go kind of.
Yeah.
Different processes.
I mean, it depends upon the beer.
Speak up.
Yeah, ask them what are the release points, quality release points, like.
Or control points throughout the
Control points.
process,
What do you
and
say
then
is
like,
good to go?
and what are you using to like release? What are your quality releases and checks that you're doing before you're releasing a beer?
Yeah.
I mean, for our standards, it's following the flow chart, it's following the brew logs. Are we hitting our numbers at the top and the end of gravity? And then, you know, I mean, being consistent on it, and then we pull it off with centrifuge after our diacetyl rest. We'll centrifuge it, we'll warm it, we'll cool it, and it has to pass three of us have to say passes.
For
All
FD
that.
test?
VDK.
Yeah.
VDK, acetaldehyde,
Yeah.
any sort of off flavor, it's got to pass that.
Yeah.
Once it passes that, we'll crash it. And a lot of times we'll just wait until the next day. To be honest, we'll wait until the next day to crash it. And then we'll taste it in the bright when it first goes in the bright, and that's just us in the back. And then it'll hit taste panel every Monday. We have a taste panel of like today we had 4 beers that were all in process. So work in process. We tasted all of those that had passed diacetyl because we did that last week, and then we had 3 more on BDK checks. So we did like a total of 8 beers for 7 math. 7 beers today passed. So Monday's kind of our day for everyone. And we also have identified on our staff who is good with certain flavors if it was not good, because not everybody is good at diacetyl.
Yeah.
Like I can smell diacetyl, but I'm not good with texture. But we have like 2 people on our staff that's really good with texture. So I actually passed the beer today, and they did not because they got slickness. I just don't get slickness. It's my weakness on diacetyl. I'm really sensitive to sulfur though.
Yeah.
So I had a beer that's a lager that was a little sulfury to me, where a couple other people didn't get sulfur. So it's kind of knowing that. I mean, this is things like bigger breweries like already know that, and big teams. So we try to emulate that a little bit on getting that beer out.
Who's on your taste panel?
Normally we have 5 people on Mondays.
Is that
5 to 6.
like all your back of house or some of your
All the
bartenders?
back
around
of
there?
house,
Okay.
myself, so 2 back of house, myself, which I'm also kind of back of house, 3 of us back of house. My wife, who's actually been through the single training as well, she did that with me. And then we'll have whoever's in front of house too.
Cool.
And we have somebody new today, so we're kind of trying to learn. She's just been with us for a couple weeks, so we're kind of trying to learn what she's good.
That's cool. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we also give it to whoever's opening up. We do it early, like right when we open. So at least 5, sometimes 6.
It's a great
But
setup.
we had a person off today, so it's just 5 of us.
Yeah.
And 3 of us have to pass it. Even if I pass it and someone else doesn't pass.
Yeah.
And that's always been, that was hard early because I'm the boss, right? I'm the owner, like, oh no, it's fine. No, it's good. Send it on. You know, like, I have to put I'm not the expert on it and realize my weaknesses as well.
Yeah. Checks and balances. Yeah. Scott.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it sounds like your program's a lot like what they're doing in New Belgium.
Yeah.
Whereas I just
On a small scale.
I just rely upon my mother-in-law. No, she's definitely got the gift. She's one of those people that that has more taste buds than the rest of us. Whatever. I mean, we do quality assurance along the way, starting out with water. You know, I'll taste at different steps. We have unit tanks, so I'll taste at the end of primary, after the diacetyl rest, see if I can notice a difference. After I crash and carb, I start letting the beer tenders sample, and I mean, ultimately, it is my call. There's been times when they've found no problems, but I'm just like, nah. And that's one of my flaws. I don't have a very well-trained palate, so I do rely upon them, but our quality control isn't nearly as intense as it probably should be.
Hey, find what works. Yeah. I'm sure you get feedback from your customers too.
Yeah. I mean, there has been times when a beer has made it behind the bar,
Yeah.
and you know, we've gotten negative feedback, and I've pulled it and I've dumped kegs.
Yeah.
You know, which is a lot harder to do than just emptying a fermenter. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So.
It hurts.
But it happens to everyone.
Yeah. I think it's Zach, did you have something?
Yeah.
I have a question, on just the artistic expression of beer. And so verboten, what initially drew me to your brewery, this was years ago, was that you did some really unique beers. So I remember trying a Pennsylvania Swanky.
Remember that beer?
I've never heard of anything like that before, but just, I think something that sets craft beer aside from normal beers, the fact that you do these kind of crazy, kind of unique, really cool beers, you're trying new ingredients, you're trying different styles. And to me, that's, my craft beer experience is always, that's been like a core part of it. But my question is, over time and, with the market over the past few years, how big of a role does being able to create, your expression, artistically expressive beers in your portfolio, or being able to share that with your customers, does it mean the same thing today that it did maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago? And is it still something that you do
still try to do that. It's a lot harder because when we first started, it was like you could do whatever, no schedule. But now, you get the canning machine, and it's like we're on a schedule all the time. But for Bowden, we designed ourselves to be innovative. We felt like New Belgium and Odell had kind of paved the way for us to be innovative in northern Colorado and do the weird stuff. Like we weren't trying to bring. We opened up not trying to bring people from Budweiser to craft beer. We were like, let's take people from craft beer to whatever's next, what they haven't tasted. And so we still do a lot of that stuff, but it's a lot harder with the schedule that we have and to do that fun stuff. So it's definitely a balance. And it's something we talk about every week. Our meeting today, there's a section on beer trends and what do we want to do this for both. And that's like a section of our Monday meeting. So we always talk about it, but sometimes it's hard fitting it in, and sometimes we'll do something so weird, like a mustard beer that it doesn't sell. You only got like 5 kegs of it, and you're like, all right, well, maybe that was a bad idea.
You did the Underberg Stout, right?
Yeah, we did Underberg Stout. I swear to God, in 2014, we did a pickle beer, and we put pickle spears in the beer, and people were like, what the hell? And now everybody's making a pickle beer.
Yeah.
So
You're ahead of your time.
Yeah, I guess
right.
so. We released a pickle beer thing. So kind of coming back. So it's kind of those things that we try to work that in, but it's not always easy to fit it in the schedule as much as I would like to. And you also look at like how long the beer was around the last time you did it, and how much people liked it, and whether it's a good idea. It's kind of that. It's a little bit harder to just throw something weird out, and people are excited for it for a minute, and then it sits on your tap for 2 months. You got to change out the lines. So.
Yeah, fortunately, we've got a good setup with 16 taps in the 3.5 barrel brew house. So it's not too much of an investment in labor and time and money to experiment. I met Tommy Arthur from Lost Abbey years ago, and he told me if I'm going to open a brewery, you got to be good at 3 things. You've got to be good at the core styles, you've got to follow the trends, and you have to be a trendsetter. And with 16 taps, I can do that. We've got maybe 6 or 8 core beers that are on, year round. Maybe 4 more that are seasonal that get swapped out twice, maybe 3 times a year. And then the remaining taps I can do whatever with. And I love farmhouse ales, and it's a perfect style to experiment with because there really are no rules. You can put anything in them, and I just like it. But
yeah, we struggle with that just because, like, I think I mentioned earlier, we're a 20 barrel brew house and we don't have a pilot brewery. I think we had at one point a half barrel Sabco that I brewed a single batch on at one point in my 9-year tenure there. So otherwise it's just kind of like we've got a feel for it, but like it's balancing what'll sell there. And I don't really like doing half fills of fermenters if I can avoid it, and half batches. It's probably just a personal quirk or something, whatever. But it's finding that balance between weirdness and stuff. So I just try to con other breweries into collabing with us and doing weird items. yeah, let's do that at your place. But like we may get a little weird and try to find, and then for us, we can almost everything we do. There's only like a couple brands that we do now because we have 20 taps, and that will help sometimes too. Especially in summer, it's a bigger can volume. That might interest people more. It depends on the style. At least for us too, on most new beers, unless it's really far out there, like it gets the new beer bump. So like we have a good regular crowd, which we're fortunate with in our tap room. We get good people coming in, and they will usually, most of them will usually try the new beer, and then they'll go back to their regular unless it's really clicking for them. But I think one of the weirder ones we did, which is not that weird, but it was a pistachio IPA that we did recently as a collab with our local beer bar. They're good homies, and we just decided to mix it up and do something a little bit more different this year. And you know, it's like, I think we brought it within the realm of not being like a total weird dessert beer, and it's selling well enough, at least, you know. It's like, okay. And then also knowing, like, depending on what style it is, what's that window when we want to be done with that beer. So we consider also, when we're getting weird, is it a weird IPA? Because we want to be done in maybe 3 months. Is it a weird brown ale? That can go for a little longer, you know. So we take a lot of things into account there, and also what's on the board, which honestly our board is at least half, I mean, it's probably 2/3 hoppy beers, because that's the market and that's what people want. Like, just clearly I like hoppy IPAs will sell. So if it's a little bit different, yeah, I think Collab Fest we did like a cardamom IPA with Upslope and Gooding Farms. That was pretty fun. Yeah, but I think we call it had like some of that herbaceous character, and almost came off. Maybe it came off a touch licoricey if you were looking at it in a different way. And it was with Gooding Farms, and we called it Gooding Plenty. And I think that associated people with good and plenty, and they're like, oh, it's a licorice beer, I don't like it as much. And I'm like, oh, just think harder, just think harder. But like, even the presentation can like push people one way or another of liking it or drinking it or not. So like, we try to take all those factors into account when we're getting a little weird, and like, if we can do certain things to help people connect with it better or sell a little bit more, we try to push that too. And sometimes we swing and miss.
That happens,
Yeah, but you know, at the end of the day, sometimes you get done with a batch and you're like, hey, that was a collab beer, and we had to dump 2 half barrels at the end. We're over it at this point. And it's like, you know, that was like not bad for selling 20 barrels of it. We'll take it.
And you learn something.
You totally learn something. You still are, you know, if you're only dumping 2 half barrels, you're still making a profit off of that. Not as much as you wanted, but like, you got to know when to throw in the towel sometimes too, like you said, you know, where you're like, whoops, okay, mustard beer, sorry.
Yeah, none of us love to dump beer. So I think we have time for maybe 1 or 2 more. Come over here. So
we all kind of alluded to this, kind of a broad question. Josh mentioned it a couple times. When you're deciding like if you're going to play to your strengths versus maybe trying to fill in some gaps or address weaknesses, but also kind of appeal to everyone. Whether it's working with employees, or choosing your styles you're going to do, or even like the customer experience you create. When you're making decisions, how do you weigh playing to things that you're strong at, you know you do well, versus trying to address things that are maybe outside of your normal wheelhouse, especially given kind of the current beer market and trying to attract new people versus keeping people who are already working with you, being your customers. How do you balance those aspects of your business? And how do you choose to do something that fits with your brewery and maybe trying to push the edges?
I mean, a good team. I mean, when I hire people, especially in production, I always say I want to hire someone smarter than me, which I don't feel is that hard. But I want to hire somebody that knows something, knows more than I do about something. So we come together as a team. I don't make decisions just on my own anymore. I did when we first started because that's necessity, but we come together as a team. And also, you know, it's so collaborative in Colorado. Like, I can go ask Scott something, I can ask anybody in Fort Collins, anybody in Loveland. That's who we're kind of tight with, or any other brewer I know. Like, what's your experience with this? What have you seen? So I don't try to do something new on our own. And our strengths are our strengths easier, but we still talk about it. We still plan it out. And if we don't know what we're doing, we're going to talk about that even more and do some research and figure it out and consult with, someone else that has maybe done it. Like, who else has done this? Who might know the answer to this question? Let's go talk to them. Let's go have a beer together and let's talk about it and figure it out.
Yeah, when I opened this place, I had a general idea of what I wanted to do. I got a historic building. It had the infrastructure already in place, thank God. And I wanted to brew farmhouse ales, but I didn't want to pigeonhole myself into something either. So it was really important just to listen to the staff and listen to the community, and it turned this place into something I wasn't really 100% planning on. I found that brewing farmhouse ales is a lot more difficult on the commercial level than as a home brewer, primarily just because of not being able to heat a fermenter. And I've had a lot of customers tell me that my kind of beer is the UK style real ales, which I take as a compliment, but it's not what I was dedicated to or focused on. So I'm still working on everything, but and our staff is, they're great. They know that I think I've got some pretty good street cred out there as far as our staff knowing that I will literally do anything for them, and they want to see this place succeed. So whatever the community throws at us, we're willing to do it, or at least try it. And just having that open mind, and letting it steer, your business in that direction. Like, music is so big in Fort Collins, and I didn't plan on building a stage, but 6 months in, I had to. And I didn't plan on doing a collab with a Grateful Dead band and having cannabis terpenes in it, but there it is. And it's all working. So, I don't know, listening to the community is huge, and having a staff that will be open-minded to anything.
I think for me, I'm not part of the AP or AR, so I'm like, what do I want to do? That's where it starts, and then I bounce the idea off of one of the owners, the head of sales, and see what he thinks too, and what we want to do, and seeing if it'll sell too. But like, usually I start in at least a place of mindfulness of what's going to sell too. Because like a lot of times what I start to get hyped on is like specific ingredients. And so,
Good place to start.
From a timely perspective, like we're coming up on hop harvest, and I've been lucky enough to go out to hop harvest for, it was like my 4th year or 5th year, I forget. But, going out there and you come back and I'm also lucky enough to hang with some of the bigger brewers and go to do cool stuff and make relationships with these people and see some cooler, newer stuff too. And you smell these different lots and you're like, oh, this is so cool. This is something like I come back and you're like, I want to brew 50 different beers now. And I mean, that happens with like malts too, where you get some cool malt products and you're like, wow, I would love, like, what can we do with something like this? Like, oh, now like that this is out, maybe we could like really push, like Crocs came out with light pills, right? That it's like, okay, cool, we could maybe like try brewing this super light thing that we were talking about, or whatever. We started using some really awesome chit malt from Root Shoot and are like really stoked on that. And so like, oh, now we can like push this body that we were looking for in this beer that we weren't getting before. So like, that's, I think, what drives me a lot. I will also say sometimes it's a stupid name. It's a stupid name for a beer, and I'll say, I want to brew a beer because of the stupid name.
Just work backwards from there.
I'm like, okay, I got a name for a beer, and what am I going to make to fit this name? But yeah, it starts with stupid stuff sometimes, but like sometimes the limitations help you, honestly. When it's unlimited, you can almost get to a problem of choice, the paradox of choice. But when you have some limitations, it's almost fun to like drive yourself into figuring out what you want to do. But yeah, like cool ingredients and is a big driver for me a lot of times, and then you whittle down from there from the rest of the crew.
Cool. Well, yeah, I think we'll probably wrap up here with one last question.
Yeah, so our last question is super, super difficult one. What is your favorite beer of the summer?
Gotta pick a favorite child.
Doesn't have to be your own. It could be a
That's
friend,
true.
like could be someone you're loving, something cool, new.
I just got off a river trip, and we did a pineapple sour, and it makes a great margarita mixer. So,
Okay. Beer mixer.
yeah,
All right.
you take a glug, you make some room, a little tequila and lime juice. No problem.
I'm a big fan of our Blitz keg. It's all root shoot. It's only 3.6. It's root shoots Munich 4. They're light Munich malt. I use that. It's such a small amount, but it's got plenty of body, and I use their malted corn. And I love this beer.
Yeah.
It's an excellent
What
summer beer.
percentage of malted corn are you using in that?
75% Munich and 25% corn.
Whoa, look at that. That's awesome.
It's 75% Munich 4.
Yep. But there's not much in it. I mean, yeah.
Cool. That's awesome.
I've been back to my roots and drinking a bunch of Odell IPA. That's kind of like the first IPA that I actually love. No, I'm not trying to suck up anything. Seriously, like I was at Dominic's last night, and that's all I drank from Dominic's. So, yeah, I just been kind of back to my roots this summer, drinking a bunch of Odell IPA. Still a great beer, one of my favorites of all time.
Cool. Well, cheers, guys. Thank you, Josh,
Thank
Rob,
you.
Scott. Thank you for hosting us too. We'll be around so you can touch in with any questions you have.
Thank you.
You know what they look like. Just chase them down. Ask them.
If anyone wants to take a look in out back or in back or whatever,
Cheers,
just
guys.
let me know.
I've never seen them
Scott.
Cheers,
Yeah, cheers, man. Take over the system. So.
What you have in your glasses is the lovely beer brought to us by BSI, featuring the lovely yeast. No, you guys don't get to walk away. You get back up here. I need to get a picture. All right, cheers, y'all.
All right, cheers.
Tell us what the style is.
B, what's the style?
What's the can say?
It's
Fruit
a
sour?
fruited sour.
All
It's
right.
very specific.
There's Francis. There's a can behind you.
Yeah, it's a passion fruit pineapple. I know, got all the tropical keywords.
This is with the super duper A56.
Yeah, this is with the lovely yeast that he was just talking about.
Yeah. That's pretty nice.
So it's not a kettle sour. It's all in the fermenter.
Well, I think we're just going to have to head on over to Ukraine to find out about our new favorite beer this summer.
It's really
Thanks,
good.
guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for
Cheers.
Thanks again for hosting.
Yeah, you keep your.
All right.